Well, good morning, YouTube friends and family. Welcome to Thursday, February 5th, 2026. Today, I want to celebrate a little bit. This is my video number 20. I never thought I would make it this far. But I'm trying to entertain myself and maybe entertain some of you out there in YouTube land. My channel is Urban South Carolina Lady, and my name is Robin, and I would like to welcome you to my channel. So today what we're going to do is revisit a story from my childhood that actually scared the bejesus out of me. But a little background to that is that this was in, I'm going to say, around 1968, 1967, 1968. It was in the fall of the year, and we had a family farm on Allen's Mill Road in Gilmanton, New Hampshire. Now, my grandparents' farm was on one side of the road with some acreage, and then if you went, I'm going to say about a quarter of a mile down the road, on the left-hand side, my dad had established our little homestead. I want to say homestead. It was a mobile home on my grandparents' land. So we didn't have any animals. My grandparents had all the farm animals. We had a few dogs. In my previous video, I mentioned that we had sled dogs. So that was what was on the property at my particular home. But the important part of this conversation is that from my grandparents' house to my house was about a quarter of a mile. It was a dirt road. There were woods on one side after you passed my grandparents' side of the road. There was a stretch of woods, unclaimed woods. Not sure who owned the property, but it was a Christmas tree farm. If you went down this little logging road, it was a Christmas tree farm, and there were just hardwoods on, woods, forest. So that was in between my grandparents' house and my house. Well, for some reason, I don't know if I was taking care of my horse Candy or my horse Muffin, or if I was just visiting with my grandparents. I'm not sure. I spent a good bit of time in the big farmhouse. But it was around dusk. It wasn't like getting dark where you couldn't see. The family rule was to be inside our home when the street lights came on. So it's apparently that time of the evening. It was in the fall. Well, I'm not sure that it was in the fall because I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt, my tennis shoes. I do remember that part of the story. And I wasn't in a hurry. I was meandering down the dirt road to my house so that I could eat dinner with my mom and my dad. And because it was a dirt road, I was kicking the stone. So I'm looking down at my feet and I'm watching what I'm doing, and I'm kicking this stone. And all of a sudden, I'm almost at the end of my driveway, but I started hearing this pig grunting. Again, I wasn't looking where I was going. I was busy kicking the stone and catching up to it and kicking it again. Uh, and I thought to myself, what in the world? Why, why am I hearing a pig? We only have one pig, and that's at my grandparents' house. And he's in a very strong pen. There's no way he could escape. So then the noise stops. I keep kicking my little stone, walking along slow, just not a care in the world. And I hear this pig snorting again. And this time I look up. And as I looked up, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee because this is bringing some PTSD to me. As I look up to see what this noise is, I'm looking into the face of a black bear that was my size. Now, I know we weren't 2 feet apart when this happened. Well, he too was just meandering down the road, and he was sniffing the ground, new smells, exploring his territory. But when we looked up in each other's eyes, I became terrified. This bear, if I had reached my hand out to, I could have patted him on the top of the head. We were that close. And all I saw was this big black snout, and I screamed. And I threw my hands up in the air, and I took off running. Well, when I screamed, he stood up because it scared him. And he screamed. And he turned and he ran into the woods. Well, when he stood up, I thought I was a goner. I thought he was going to attack me. He was going to eat me. And that was just the end of Robin right there. Right then and there. So I started running up the driveway. Had no idea where the bear was. All I could think of was get in the house. So I clawed, literally, I was so frightened. And I believe this is where my PTSD kicked in as a child. I clawed my way up the steps, and I was so panicked that I could not get in the front door. I was scratching and clawing at the front door. Well, naturally, my mom rushed to see what was going on with me. And she was asking me what was wrong. I was shaking from head to toe. I couldn't speak. I was that scared. I could not speak. I could not utter a word. I was just trembling all over and pointing at the front door, like towards the outside. And so my mom, she wrapped me in her arms, and she sat down on the recliner, and she just sat there, and she had me like this, had my head against her shoulder, and I was just sobbing and trembling, and she was rocking back and forth. And after about 10 minutes, I realized I was safe. I was inside. I was in my mom's arms, and I could point to the window and say, "Bear, bear, there's a bear." Well, she went running outside because we had some family relatives that were building a house across the street. They were working on the foundation, and their names were Candy and Joe, and they were out in that section of woods. So my mom went running to let them know that there was a bear right there. And Joe looked around, he looked around through the woods and he didn't see anything. And he said, well, perhaps it was just my coat hanging in the tree right there. So my mom came back in and she said, I didn't see anything. Robin, I swear, the three of us, we looked all around and we didn't see anything. Are you sure you saw a bear? Well, yes. I had seen a bear, and it had scared the bejesus out of me. I thought I was dead. Right then and there, I thought I was dead. I thought this bear was just going to attack me, being that I was 60 pounds soaking wet. And this bear was looking at me eye to eye. I just knew it was the night of the grizzly all over again. There was a movie years ago called The Night of the Grizzly, and it didn't have a very good ending. And so, of course, I stayed in the house from that point forward until my dad got home, and he loaded us in the truck, and he had his door open, his driver's side door open like this, and he was holding it, and he's looking down at the ground, and sure enough, he sees paw prints. So he knew, and then my mom knew, that this wasn't just a child's imagination. This was a real life event. And it took me quite a while to be able to go back outside, because up until that point, I never realized that we had black bear in New Hampshire, and we lived in the country, and naturally, we were surrounded by fields and woods, and this bear was just he was just exploring his day. And the adults in the family who were gun savvy, had some hunting experience under their belts. They all gathered together the next couple of days, and they searched the 150 acres that my grandfather owned, and they never saw the bear again. So apparently, because I screamed so loud, I must have scared the bear as much as he scared me. and we never saw each other again, but it took me months. It took me months before I could go back outside by myself and feel safe. And this is one of my stories that I have that I wanted to share with YouTube. I also wanted to share it with my family. I don't get a chance to sit down and tell stories very often, so when I'm by myself and they crop up, I like to document them on YouTube. And there will come a time when my great-grandchildren can watch these videos and get a sense of who their great-grandmother was and some of the experiences that I had living in the country. So again, this video will come out in just a short while after I upload it. Again, I do want to celebrate because this is video number 20. I am getting a little more familiar and comfortable with the camera. Today I'm in a spare bedroom that I'm trying to experiment with my lighting, because I've noticed that my lighting I don't have enough lighting. And so I'm trying to experience different places in my home where I can sit comfortably and share my stories with you. And they all won't be just stories of my past. I'm going to tackle some different videos of maybe how to do things, or what I have learned from different situations, lessons that I've learned along the way. If you look at some of my older videos. One I did on what I learned when I got married too young. Another one was an episode of uh, me and the sled dogs. And I ask that you please take take time. Take time to listen to these videos. And no, I'm not a professional videographer. I'm a 68-year-old woman with a lot of spare time on her hands because I have psoriatic arthritis. I have mobility issues. I am able to walk and drive and maintain my house, but days are painful, and I'm not able to work a secular job at this point. I retired in 2019. It was June 17th of 2019. I was forced into retirement. Up until then, I was working a manufacturing job, and I was used to working pretty much 60 hours a week. I had enough money to have fun with, get my bills paid, do some remodeling, and that type of thing. And all of a sudden, I was brought into HR, and it was explained to me that I no longer had a job because my attendance was sketchy. Well, my attendance was sketchy because my health was sketchy. So I was forced into retirement, and now that I'm here 6 years later, I'm trying to grow my channel, learn about YouTube, learn about the computer, and I hope this video quality is a little bit better than the ones I've been shooting in the kitchen with the shadows behind me. So please leave a comment and share with me what your thoughts are on these videos. Have I improved? Have I gotten more relaxed? It's my point of view that you can start anything at any time in your life, and if you work at it and you're dedicated to it, you can become successful. So thank you for sharing with me this morning on my little story about my bear. And I hope I never see another one that close. But we both survived, and we've never seen each other again. So I'm trying to make a conclusion to this video. Lessons that I could have learned from meeting face to face with a bear. I think that was just time and circumstance, and it scared the bejesus out of me. So I really can't think of any tidbits of wisdom to share with you about that encounter other than share the encounter with you. So y'all have a great day. Find joy and peace in your life, and subscribe, and share this video. It is number 20. I have been watching the analytics, and I have a few views. I'm really happy. At this point in time, I have over 1,300 views, and seriously, I've been doing this for about 6 or 7 videos. So, and it's not serious. It's just a challenge. And I love y'all. Take care. Have a great day.